Good morning, Bucknutters. It's Friday, August 8th, 2014. I'm Dan Rubin. This is the Bucknuts Morning 5 to end off your work week here. Got a great show planned for you today. Going to talk about three guys who maybe haven't gotten as much press as some of the others in the mix for Ohio State this year, but they are three guys we expect to play a very big role in the team and shine from the very beginning. We'll check in with the wonderfully talented Alex Gleitman, who will share with us why he recently made a crystal ball flip for Canadian defensive tackle Neville Gallimore. We'll take a look at what we have coming up on the site today and the weekend ahead, which will be busy considering the fact there's an open practice on Saturday and media day on Sunday. So keep it locked here on the Bucknuts Morning 5. As is the case every season with fall camp, there are certain storylines that take over and make perfect sense. This year, you got Brax's shoulder. How well is he going to play? How healthy is he? Obviously, when you have a senior quarterback, the ilk of Braxton Miller, anytime he gets a hang now, it's going to be a story. You've got the battle at left guard on the offensive line in general. Urban Meyer has come out and said left guard is his biggest concern on the team. Remains to be seen who will be able to win that job if Antonio Underwood can hold down the fort. You've got the secondary coming off a season in which it struggled mightily and some new faces battling in at safety like Von Bell and Cam Burrows. And then you've just got the new faces in general as the freshmen aim to make their name on the team. But there are three guys we haven't talked about quite as much, and I have a feeling after 3 games this season are going to be very well known, if not household names. One on offense, one on defense, and one who I expect to make some contributions on offense and special teams. The first is Ezekiel Elliott. We just haven't talked about him as much, almost because it seems to be a foregone conclusion that he's going to be the starting running back after last season in which Ohio State had arguably, and I would argue it, the best running back in the country, Carlos Hyde, who's now applying his trade for San Francisco and looked very good in his debut last night of preseason. I think people are sleeping on just how good Elliott is going to be. One thing that stands out about Eazy-E that I'm not sure a lot of people know is his size. This is a good 215 to 225 pound running back with the speed to get outside. He has a chance to be a very dynamic player. Jordan Hall, after 3 games last year, had 61 carries for 402 yards and 6 touchdowns. And I'm not sure anybody even remembers that. So I expect Eazy-E to get the ball a lot early. Ohio State has always given the running back a lot. Much like last season, I think as things get going, the easiest thing to do is hand it to Eazy-E, no pun intended. If you're trying to bring along an offensive line, there's a guy getting yards and chewing it up, you're going to lean on him. On defense, the name to remember for me is Tyquan Lewis. Spoke to Dave Biddle last night to confirm what I was thinking. We agree Tyquan is likely going to emerge as the starter at defensive end in Noah Spence's stead as he serves out his suspension. If you watch the tape from practice, Tyquan Lewis has an incredible burst. He's a little smaller than some of the other guys in competition for the position like Steve Miller, and he's about more in the Jamal Marcus mold. Of course, Jamal's now at Akron plying his trade. But if you were the Naval Academy, for example, and you're reviewing film, Tyquan Lewis, number one, isn't going to come up. They're going to have to worry about Michael Bennett, Noah Spence, and Adolphus Washington. So Lewis should thrive in single coverage defensively, and I expect him to end about 3 or 4 sacks after 2 games and get some serious burn as Spence's backup once he returns from suspension. The last guy I want to mention, he has gotten some shine, is Jalen Marshall. I cannot get over how impressive he is physically, and we haven't talked about him in a while simply because he's been off our radar dealing with injury issues. This was one of the most gifted athletes in the country when he played quarterback at Middletown, Ohio. They have had some adjustment time switching from quarterback to receiver. He looks very impressive. Saw him returning punts on Monday. Very impressive there. And physically has the body to withstand a punishment, break arm tackles, and take it to the house. I think Jalen Marshall is going to be a star in this team. So 3 guys to look out for early. Eazy-E, Tyquan Lewis, and Jalen Marshall. As promised, we now have Alex Gleitman reporting on Canadian defensive tackle Neville Gallimore. By the way, Neville Gallimore would be a great folk singer's name. Don't tell me you wouldn't buy Neville Gallimore's greatest hits.
Good morning, Bucknutters. Alex Gleitman here to talk about a little bit of recruiting. Neville Gallimore, defensive tackle out of Canada Prep Football Academy, the 4-star prospect rated as the number 34 overall player in the country per 24/7 Sports. I recently put a crystal ball prediction in for him to Ohio State. He visited the Buckeyes in Columbus back on May 31st before participating in the Nike football training camp the next day in Columbus at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. And for a while I've been holding off on a crystal ball pick, but after talking to some sources in Canada that have coached Neville and are close to his recruitment recruitment as well as some people on the Ohio State side of things, I felt comfortable enough saying that the Buckeyes are in a great position right now to land the outstanding defensive tackle to go alongside Josh Alabi from Detroit Cass Tech. Right now, Ohio State's in a great position to land an official visit, and I think they are the leaders in his recruitment. Now, there's a long way to go in this one, and some other programs are certainly pressing get him on campus for an official visit. But right now, I'm feeling pretty good based on sources in both Canada and in Columbus that the Buckeyes do land the outstanding defensive tackle.
We thank Alex Gleitman for stopping by. You don't want to go anywhere, people. Lots to do this weekend and lots coming up on the site. We've got some more video coverage coming up later today of practice we got from earlier in the week, plus the boarding house, which you won't want to miss. This weekend, Saturday's practice is open to the media. We will have full coverage of it as Matt Baxendale makes an appearance on the scene. He'll be there with bells on for us, and Sunday is media day, so you'll get a chance to meet all the guys, some extended interviews, some great picture opportunities. Keep it locked here to Bucknuts. Season's about here, and we're about ready to get rolling.